What really fuels the empire of Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote? You've probably heard the number, $23.9 billion. But that's just the surface. Dangote isn't just rich, he's reshaping the future of an entire continent. His businesses touch the lives of millions every single day. Yet most people don't truly understand how it all came to be. Behind this staggering fortune lies a story of struggles, sacrifice, and silent strength. This isn't some fairy tale of fast success or inherited wealth. This is the tale of a man who rose through the noise by mastering the quiet, who built power in silence and moved with such precision that his competition never saw him coming. What if I told you there's one hidden truth about his rise that could change the way you see success forever? A truth buried beneath decades of rejection, betrayal, and risk. A truth forged in a place where business is never easy and failure is always close. Picture this, a man who started trading sugar and rice in a busy Nigerian market now controls industries that are Africa's lifelines. Cement, sugar, fuel. He didn't just build wealth, he built control. And that control now shapes nations. So stay with us. Because in the next few minutes, you'll uncover the real story behind Dangote's fortune. A story that goes far beyond money. A story of vision, focus, and a kind of discipline you've never seen before. And at the very end, we'll reveal the #1 secret behind it all. One that just might change how you see your own path to success. Aliko Dangote was born in Kano, Nigeria in 1957. From the outside, it might seem like he had a head start. His family was well known in business. His grandfather, Alhassan Dantata, was one of the wealthiest men in West Africa during the colonial era. But what most people miss is that Dangote didn't grow up in comfort the way we imagine billionaires do. He wasn't raised in a palace. He grew up in a modest home, in a busy, often chaotic city, where hard work was valued more than titles. Though he had a family with business connections, nothing was handed to him. His father died when he was just 8 years old. That loss left a hole, emotionally, and in the path ahead. His grandfather stepped in and helped raise him, teaching him the importance of discipline, savings, and making smart decisions. From a young age, Dangote wasn't thinking about cars or clothes. He was thinking about how to grow money, even if it started with just a few coins. He once said, "I can remember when I was in primary school, I would go and buy cartons of sweets and start selling them just to make money." That's not something most rich kids do. But Dangote wasn't like most. He was hungry to build something on his own. His family legacy gave him a sense of responsibility, not entitlement. He saw firsthand that wealth could disappear if it wasn't protected and grown wisely. That lesson shaped how he thought about money. Not just as something to spend, but something to multiply and control. Many people start with small savings, a bit of support, or a dream. Dangote had those too. But what set him apart was the fire inside him to go further. But even with all that passion, things weren't easy. In his early 20s, he borrowed $3,000 from an uncle to start his small trading business in sugar and rice. That might sound like a gift, but it came with pressure and expectations. If he failed, it wouldn't just be his business at risk. His name, his family honor, and his future would all take a hit. And just a few years in, he almost lost it all. Markets shifted. Import costs rose. Partners backed out. He faced a moment where he could have walked away, and many would have. But he didn't. He kept going. He kept learning. He kept fighting to survive. So the real question is this: what was that one challenge in his youth that nearly broke his dream? And what gave him the strength to push through? That's where everything begins to change. Let's find out. The biggest challenge that nearly broke Aliko Dangote's dream wasn't just about money. It was Nigeria's unstable economy and the deep roots of corruption in the system. In the early years, doing business in Nigeria was like walking through a minefield. Rules changed without warning. Deals collapsed overnight. And trust, it was hard to find. Dangote, still in his 20s, was importing sugar and rice, hoping to build a name. But almost every step was a fight. Government permits were delayed, port workers demanded bribes, and local rivals tried to undercut him. Still, he kept showing up, day after day, pushing through. He had to negotiate tough deals in a time when most people gave up. There were moments when he had no profit, just survival. Banks didn't believe in him. He was rejected many times when he asked for loans. They saw a young man with big dreams but no proven track record. He didn't take it personally. Instead, he reinvested every dollar he made. No flash, no fancy lifestyle, just growth. Then came the unexpected twist, a deal that would change everything. Dangote managed to secure a contract to supply sugar to a large local manufacturer. At the time, it seemed like just another win. But this deal wasn't just about money. It gave him credibility. He delivered more than expected, faster than expected, and soon bigger companies started knocking on his door. This one moment created a ripple effect. His reputation grew, and so did his access to funding. Banks that once said no began offering credit lines. Suddenly, the boy who once begged for loans was getting offers from every side. But even with this new deal and new attention, the pressure didn't disappear. The question remained, could this one breakthrough be enough to turn a small trading venture into a billion-dollar empire? Dangote didn't celebrate. He planned. He understood that trading sugar and rice could only go so far. He started asking bigger questions. What does Africa need most? What industries do people rely on every single day? And most importantly, what could he own, not just sell? His eyes moved toward manufacturing. That meant not just buying and selling, but making products, controlling supply chains, and eventually owning the industries themselves. This mindset was a shift. It wasn't about profit anymore. It was about power, about becoming unshakable, even in a stormy economy. So what was this bold next move that turned a sugar trader into the builder of Africa's largest industrial empire? Let's explore the step that changed his destiny, and possibly an entire continent. Aliko Dangote's story evolves from a simple trader to the builder of an empire, and it started with expansion. He didn't just stick to sugar and rice. He saw potential in cement, sugar, salt, and oil refining, industries that affect every part of African life. That vision turned a trading business into a continent-spanning powerhouse. Dangote Cement stands as a fact bomb. It's Africa's largest cement producer, operating in over a dozen countries. Roads, buildings, bridges, most are made with Dangote's cement. This dominance wasn't an accident. It was built through intense effort, smart expansions, and sometimes ruthless decisions. Think about it. One man's vision created jobs and economic growth for millions. In each African country where Dangote built a factory, thousands of workers found steady employment. Local suppliers and contractors found opportunity. Communities thrived. His businesses didn't just export wealth. They built infrastructure and boosted living standards. But the rise wasn't smooth. Dangote faced fierce competition and political obstacles at every turn. Rival businesses tried to undercut him. Government officials often asked for bribes or favors. Local politicians tried to block his plans. In several countries, protests erupted as communities demanded jobs and fairness. Dangote found himself in boardrooms, courts, and sometimes in backroom talks with powerful leaders. The tension was real, and the risk of failure loomed large. Yet each time he faced a hurdle, Dangote responded with patience, strategy, and an unyielding will to push through. So here's the big question. What secret strategy keeps Dangote ahead of rivals across Africa? It wasn't just having capital. It wasn't simply timing. It was a blend of deep local knowledge, political alliances, and vertical integration. He didn't just build factories. He built entire supply chains, from raw materials to final products. He secured imports, transport, power, and distribution. And he often did this by speaking softly with local leaders, listening, and negotiating deals that benefited all sides. This approach allowed him to expand where others couldn't or wouldn't dare. Even when rivals complained, Dangote moved on because his strategy wasn't about short-term profits. It was about total control and long-term dominance. But this strategic move hints at an even bigger plan, a plan so bold that few outside his inner circle fully grasp it. What is this bigger plan? How does owning vital industries across continents tie into something far greater? The answer to what truly keeps Aliko Dangote ahead lies in his low-profile approach and quiet political alliances. While many billionaires love the spotlight, Dangote chooses silence. His face rarely shows up in tabloids. His private life remains, well, private. Why? Because his real strategy is to move powerfully behind the scenes, avoiding distractions that could weaken his empire. Emotionally, this isn't just about strategy. It's about survival. Dangote understands that in Africa, fame can be dangerous. Attention attracts enemies. In volatile economies, the loudest voices are often the first to fall. Dangote avoids this trap by staying calm, calculated, and out of the news, while expanding his control across countries and industries. He's not only building businesses, he's investing heavily in infrastructure, education, and health. He's donated millions to fight disease, build schools, and fund clean water projects. It's not just charity. It's part of a long-term vision for a stronger, self-reliant Africa, one where local industries feed local communities. The real reason behind his success may be his extreme patience. While others chase fast money, Dangote waits. He thinks in decades, not quarters. He builds slow, deep foundations. So when storms hit, his empire stands strong. Could this hidden patience be the very thing that holds his empire together? Could the quiet moves, invisible alliances, and decades-long focus be what sets him apart? Which leads to the final question. What is the one secret he's been guarding? So powerful, so personal, that it could change everything we think we know about success. So what is the secret that truly powers Aliko Dangote's empire? It's not just the billions, it's influence, built through deep strategic partnerships that link him not only with big businesses but with governments across Africa. While others hustle for short-term wins, Dangote plays a long game, building relationships that secure access, trust, and stability others can only dream of. This influence is what helped him survive multiple crises, economic crashes, political shifts, even global supply chain breakdowns. While competitors scrambled, Dangote stayed solid. His quiet ties with leaders, regulators, and financial institutions gave him early warnings, protection, and opportunities no amount of money alone could buy. In moments when his empire could have cracked, trust kept it together. Dangote didn't just build factories. He built faith. People believed in his mission, and they stood by him when it mattered most. And this brings us to the lesson. True power isn't just about being rich. It's about having people who trust you, systems that support you, and the patience to let those roots grow deep. That's what lasts. So if you remember one thing, let it be this. The secret behind Dangote's $23.9 billion empire isn't what you see. It's what you don't. It's quiet power, fueled by influence, trust, and time. Now ask yourself, what kind of legacy are you building? And will it stand the test of time? When you peel back the billions, the businesses, the towering factories, what you truly find at the center of Aliko Dangote's empire is not just wealth, but resilience, strategy, and vision. His journey proves that success isn't a sprint. It's a marathon. Run with quiet discipline, sharp focus, and a long-term plan. In a world that celebrates instant wins and loud victories, Dangote's rise tells a different story. He didn't just chase profits. He built systems. He built trust. He built Africa's future, one brick, one bag of cement, one refinery at a time. And while others grabbed attention, Dangote quietly built an empire. Real success doesn't come from doing more than others. It comes from doing what others avoid. Hard things, slow things, things that take years to pay off. He didn't just make deals, he made decades of impact. And the moral, true wealth isn't what fills your bank, it's what lifts people. Dangote created jobs, industries, and hope for millions. He showed us that wealth, when used with purpose, becomes something far bigger than one man's fortune. This is the emotional high point. His story isn't about being lucky or born rich. It's about having the guts to stay in the game when everything says quit. So remember the hook, that one hidden secret. It wasn't magic. It was patience and partnership, and it changed everything. If you're ready to build your dream, start like Dangote did, with vision, courage, and time. Aliko Dangote's story reminds us that true success is not just about money. It's about vision, resilience, and impact. From small trades in Kano to reshaping Africa's economy, his journey shows how quiet determination can build a legacy louder than any spotlight. More than cement or sugar, Dangote built trust, discipline, and long-term value. He didn't just get rich, he changed lives, industries, and futures. That's the kind of success we should all aim for. So here's the value to take with you. Real power lies in focus and purpose. Not in noise, but in knowing where you're going and never quitting on the way there. If this story lit a spark in you, like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs a little inspiration today. And now it's your turn to speak. What's your biggest takeaway from Dangote's journey? Was it his patience, his discipline, or how he used quiet strategy to shape a continent? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. You never know who you might inspire by sharing your reflection. The Dangote story isn't over, and maybe your own empire starts today.